Court is now in session.
It works.
It's working.
It does work.
No
What
more.
did you do different?
Personally, I preferred the old method.
I don't think any of our listeners preferred the old method.
Yeah, but it made it clearer that I was done.
Yeah, this is
Very true.
That is true. What did you do to fix it?
Yeah.
I've just, instead of having it in front of the microphone, it's behind the microphone. So I don't actually know how that fixes it. It's obviously just gotten around Zoom's editing protocol.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is your mic
What that is.
360-degree pickup?
No,
Directional.
it's cardioid is the official term.
Ah, very
So it's
nice.
like heart shaped.
yeah.
So it picks up sound from here and all around here, but not at the top.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah. Very
I did a
clever.
degree.
You did.
Okay.
That's about the extent of what I learned.
Well-
3 years well spent.
You
Yeah.
sound very, very smart.
But
Me
hey,
too.
boys, as we start off today, I've actually prepped anyone for this, but we had a really exciting moment on Tuesday where Will got to kind of give us all different titles in a meeting, and I'd love
that's
Will.
right.
I'd love Will just to recap those titles if that's okay for us.
Yeah, I could do that. So I got asked who was the funniest member on staff, which I said was Mr. James Bignell. I also got asked who would be the Prime Minister if they weren't in ministry, to which I said that would be Mr. Ben Dayton.
Which,
And
which,
then-
by the way, both are pretty good choices. I'm okay with both those choices.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Brad had to be put in there somewhere. And we got asked the question, if anyone on staff was to own a tuba, who would it be? And immediately I was like, well, Brad has a saxophone. So if anyone's going to own a tuba, it's going to be Brad.
No way. You've gone
Yeah.
tuba, which is the least sexy instrument of all time. And I play saxophone, which is the most sexy instrument of all time.
Yeah. It
Doesn't
was.
matter.
Is tuba not sexy?
No.
I don't know what it is though, Brad, but when it was said, I thought to myself in my head, oh, Brad is
Well-
the person who would own a tuba.
So
To
did
be
I
fair-
actually.
So did
Did you really? All three of you, plus another person on staff, plus the other person who's being asked the question, all thought that. So that's 5 out of the room. That's pretty
And-
bad.
My wife played the tuba and she's also on staff, and I still thought of you first, Brad.
Brutal.
Yeah. That's pretty rough.
Well, maybe I should go learn the tuba.
Or maybe you should learn that sousaphone, that like the marching band tuba that wraps all the way around you, because that thing looks
Oh, yeah.
sick.
I think it's the least sexy instrument. All I can imagine is a big fat guy going bom 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 bom.
With a mustache like Ben's.
Yes. Maybe I should have been the tuba guy, Will.
Maybe.
PM and a tuba. That would have been a real win-win.
So,
I was a bit devastated. Well, I appreciated your faith, but I had a lot of people come up after and be like, nah, not you for PM. I was like, well, screw you guys.
they don't know you well enough. I feel like you've got the determination that if you went into politics, you'd work your way up to being.
Oh,
a
thanks,
PM.
mate. I was going to make a policy that would remove those people from being able to vote.
That's
policy.
fair.
Yeah.
Great platform.
Is it a perception thing, Ben? Then if it's not because they don't know you well enough, how do we change the perception of you to be more PM-like?
I don't know. Maybe we start a campaign for me to be PM.
I like it.
Maybe.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Maybe
Didn't we have something like that at one point? Ben for something. Ben for...
maybe
I can't remember.
maybe it was PM.
I think it might have been PM, but not Prime Minister PM.
Ben, what would your campaign slogan be?
That's a really great question. It would probably be something like, I don't know, make Australia great again. I don't know, something like that. Just like Clive Palmer. I thought it was a great slogan. I don't know where he got it from, but it was really catchy and just gave me really great hope and vision for what Australia could be.
Super original.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I thought so. Nah, no idea. That's a few years down the track. I'll be going for 2024 or something like that.
I had a mate of mine who was like a what do they call, a foodologist, all about health and nutrition, nutritionist. Ugh.
Oh yeah, a foodologist.
But he was.
That's for our Rue Define segment, nutritionist.
That's right.
It's been a long day. So he's a nutritionist, and he was going to start running for politics. And we joked about that his campaign platform would have to be something like "Make the fat kids run," to kind of like get them all healthy.
Oh man, that's hectic.
Childhood obesity was what his dissertation was on. So,
Oh, okay.
that
There
would
we
have fit
go.
pretty well.
There you go.
We got an exciting episode coming up today, though, boys.
We do, and we just had our Joey. We've got our first ever Joey coming on the podcast.
Not first. Come on, Ben.
Not first.
Oh, sorry, live though, Joey.
No,
Still not
Oh,
right.
sorry.
still not right.
Oh, I forgot about last week. I forget that wives count as Joeys.
You're a disgrace, Ben.
I'm a disgrace.
Your guys' wives are Joey's. Mine isn't.
Sorry, yeah, that's right. No, sorry, I got thrown because they were in the waiting room and then they've just left.
Oh,
and now I'm
wow.
like, what's happened? And so I'm just messaging them. So I got a little bit flustered about what's happening because I was like, let's segue, and then they literally just left. So we kind of need to stall for some time for a second. I don't know.
That's a good. Do we want to go to Will's question while we sort out our technical issues?
Yeah.
Happy to do that because I don't think it'll take too long, but I'm just curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are on what the best method for solving like a 50-50 decision is. So are you going to flip a coin, play scissors, paper, rock?
Oh,
Like what's your go-to method for solving?
It's easy, Will. It's easy. Whoever's right.
Okay.
That's
no,
that's
but
how
are you
solve
saying
it.
that you've got a decision to make and you feel 50-50 on it?
Or like two of us, like let's say someone wanted to go for sushi and someone wanted to go for grilled, like, and you can't decide. Do you do scissors, paper, rock? Do you flip a coin to decide where you're
okay.
going?
No, I think it becomes a sheer force of will. Whoever has the greatest will to make it happen is the one that wins and ultimately gets their choice.
Does that mean Will always wins?
Nah, he doesn't have strong
No.
enough will,
I
ironically.
definitely don't have a strong enough will. I'm sitting in the back seat being driven wherever we're going.
My solution would be to do both. If it's grilled and sushi, why not get both? Both good things to eat.
I'm torn on that, Brad.
Yeah, I don't even know how to respond to that.
Nah, if it was anything but food, I probably wouldn't say both.
My argument, Will, would actually be that I don't think there's any such thing as a 50-50 decision.
You don't reckon?
No. I've never found myself in a position where I've gone, this is so 50-50 that I can't make a clear decision. For me, it might be close, but I've never been 50-50. The closest I reckon I've ever been is a 55-45 decision. So there's still weight in one direction, and I just go that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Will, have you already done a pros and con list?
I've not. No. Which I was just trying to come up with some different methods for when you are in that indecisiveness phase to help decisions be made. Because I don't know about the rest of our Joeys, but I do struggle from time to time. So I normally go, let's flip a coin. And I normally go assign it, right? Like assign heads to one option, tails to another. And then as I flip it, generally I go, all right, I want it to land on this. And I go, cool. Well, that's my decision made then.
But then
Fair
what
enough.
happens if it lands on the other side?
Well, I ignore it at that point in time.
So here's the thing. You knew all along what decision you needed to make.
Maybe.
No,
Maybe.
you did.
No,
You
you
didn't
did.
have a
reckon?
strong
No, you
enough
did.
will.
Exactly.
I think my issue, I don't think I'm ever personally really 50-50 on something. I think there's always something I'd rather do.
Yeah.
But if you are a person who's 50-50 on something, I think I've got the best technique, which we would all agree on, is to download the Anchor app or go onto Facebook and write into Kangaroo Court Podcast and ask them to decide for you.
100%.
And
This is
hopefully you've got a
true.
week
Longer.
to figure it out.
Although that could be fraught with danger because you're likely to get Will and I say one response and you, James and Ben say a different response.
Yeah, which means
Or we
you should
split
go
50-50.
with me and James because
We
our
haven't
response
had
is always
that in
right.
a while, though, have we?
We have not.
No, we've had a couple of 3-on-1s where Will's been in the corner. But
Yeah. But Will, I
Yeah.
can't, to be honest, I can't think of the last time I ever was faced with a 50-50 decision.
yeah, same.
Yeah.
What if it's not like a personal 50-50 decision? Like what if it's like Soph wants to go to one spot and you want to go to another spot, or Rach wants to go to one spot and you want to go to another spot, Ben, and you're struggling to decide which option.
Oh no, Rachel
That
and I are
never
both.
happens.
both too decisive. A decision's made very quickly.
That's not our case. I think we just both pitch our arguments, and whoever wins, wins.
Yeah, we're pretty same.
There you go.
But so you're saying that like you and Mel are being like, hey, what do you want to eat? And she's like, I don't know. What do you want to eat? And you're like, oh, what about sushi? And she's like, oh, what about grilled? And then you're like, I want to do sushi because of this. And then she's like, I want to do grilled because of this. And you're like, okay, let's do grilled.
Let's get fish and chips.
Let's get a mixture. Let's get a sushi sandwich.
Let's get the fish burger.
Because compromise is always best.
No, compromise sucks.
Compromise means everybody loses just a little bit.
Correct.
Yeah. I remember reading somewhere someone was like, compromise is everyone walks away with one shoe. I thought that was the best. It was like, that sucks.
I resonate with, though, that everyone loses a little bit because on Kangaroo Court, we don't care who wins. It's all about who loses.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually, that's the very basis of this podcast, isn't it?
That's right.
That's fair enough. How are we going? Oh, listen.
Nicely done.
Well done. Great work. Now, Joey is in the waiting room. So do you think I should admit them?
Yeah, let's welcome
do
in.
Should we do...
You go.
No, I was going to say, do we need to do an intro to who they are or just let them in and then they can intro themselves?
Do we need to do a theme song? Probably not, hey.
Probably. I think Will needs to probably do a theme song. It's been a while.
That's fair.
I did regrets. That's
All you said was regrets.
that's all you're going to get.
That's very decisive of you, Will.
Yeah, well
It
done.
is.
Maybe we don't do a theme song because we're going to get loads of Joey's calling in next season. So we don't want to start a precedent that we can't follow up on.
Very true.
Agreed. I like it. All right. Well, let's let our Joey in.
Let's throw to Matt.
Yeah, throw to Matt. I'm admitting him to the conference call. Hopefully he's online. Oh, there he is. Matt, you're on mute, mate.
Matthew.
You're on mute, so don't say too much too soon.
Classic Zoom call.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
How you doing, mate?
Hey.
I'm good. How are we all this afternoon?
I'm
Doing well.
Doing very well.
Mate, I'm immediately struck by your lavender wall behind you.
And is that one medal on it as well? What is that on the?
This was that's a medal. We won the 2019 Winter Cricket Comp last year.
Hey.
So
Nice.
my greatest achievement in cricket. So.
At a time when nobody's playing cricket.
Oh, Will. Gotta be nice to your Joeys, mate. So rude.
We apologise.
It's all right. It's all right, Matt. All you need to say to Will is, what happens when you 5-1 up in a grand final, Will?
Yeah. Yeah, what happened, man? Come on.
At least he won his grand final, Will.
This is true. This is true.
In my head, it's not even 5-1. It's like 17-1 at the moment. It just keeps the story keeps building in my head.
Yeah, agreed. Well, Matt, it's great to have you on the podcast today. You got in touch, said you had some questions that you wanted to fire at us.
Yes.
What type of questions are we talking about?
Well, I was thinking of firing some would you rather questions at you guys to throw up a bit of debate and stuff.
That would actually work really well because we did just talk about how do you make a decision when you're in a 50-50 situation. So
okay,
yeah, this would be great. Will might not be able to give you an answer, but
I'll have to find a coin and see if I can flip.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so you guys ready for these?
So
Ready.
anyway,
All right, so I've got 3 here. So the first one is, would you rather be in jail for a year or lose a year off your life?
Ooh.
that is a great question.
well, are we allowed to ask clarifying questions, or it's just that's the question done?
No, I think that's the question done because otherwise, James, you'll just deconstruct it until there's no question left.
Fair.
I feel like they're both effectively a year of your life anyway, right? So do you want it at the end of your life or do you want it in the middle of your life right now?
That's what my question was going to be. Because if I could have the year in jail later on in life, I'd do that.
When you're old and weak and can't defend yourself?
No, for future James to deal with. I think I'm going to go with I'd rather a year in jail because I could use it to read a book or get ripped or something like that.
Just read one soul book. What are you reading?
It takes a while, mate. Chronicles of Narnia.
I love it. I think I would go the opposite way. I think a year off my life at the end because jail would be such a waste of time. And I mean, now I know that I'm going to lose a year off my life, but otherwise I probably wouldn't have known. And so I feel like I wouldn't have missed it. Whereas like having a year in jail, knowing I could be out and about doing stuff, no, not for me. So I'll take a year off my life at the end.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same as Ben. I've always wanted to go out in like a freak cruise ship accident, eating my body's weight worth of like prawns and stuff on a cruise ship. So if my last year involved that somewhere at the end of my life, then I'll be fine with that.
What about you, Will?
I'm going to interrupt before Will because it's taking too long.
Classic.
But I'm feeling left out and I'm actually going to renege.
James changed his mind. James changed his mind. The first time ever on our podcast.
Because I didn't take into the account, if I went to jail right now, in a year when I came back, I probably wouldn't have my job and I wouldn't be allowed to go out internationally and a bunch of other stuff. So I want to lose the life at the end. I forgot. I didn't even think about that. Sorry, boys.
There you
That's
go.
fine. What about you, Will?
We're all in agreement. I'd take a year off at the end and enjoy it as much as I can. And then I'm a year closer to heaven.
Nice.
Positive spin on death. Well done, Will.
What would you do, Matt?
Oh, yeah. Originally, I thought jail for a year, but you guys may have convinced me the other way. I feel like if I went to jail for a year, I'd still be able to, like, do things like read a book or just be able to do things in that year. But I'll stick with you guys for sure. I'd take a year off my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good question, though.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. What's the second one?
All right. This is a good one. Would you rather have all traffic lights you approach be green or never have to stand in line again?
Oh,
That is a great one.
the first thing that went through my mind was that girl from the tortillas ad. We're gonna los dos. Why not both? Because that'll be awesome.
That would be awesome. I'm going to go green traffic lights forever because I feel like we're moving to a lineless society based on all of our technology. And so I feel like lines are going to be less of an issue than green lights will be. Although, shivers. No,
Driverless society.
I've just thought about my driverless society as well.
100%.
When lights won't even exist anymore because all the cars will be automated. Oh, shivers.
That will come first. That'll come way before.
Someone else needs to go now.
I want to have no lines because I'm like, red lights are frustrating, but I'm okay with that. And you're still going to get green lights half the time. Unless you're Brad, who gets red lights at least 80% of the time. But no lines would just be incredible. No lines imagine no line at the KFC drive-thru at lunchtime.
Oh.
Bliss.
Yeah, true. I didn't think of those lines. Nice.
Does that mean no traffic jams as well? That's just a line, isn't it? I like the vagueness of no lines. I'm going no lines.
Yeah, you can exploit it more.
Yeah.
My gut immediately went no lines. I hate lines so much. Does that include like lines on the phone? If you're on the phone to Telstra, there's no waiting line.
I didn't think of that actually.
If that's part of the deal, then I'm in that 100% straight away.
Yep.
Yeah.
No more waiting for Centrelink. You're just straight to the top of that line. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that you boys have said all that stuff, I'm definitely going no lines. Solely because I also believe in a driverless society. It's going to be here soon. So
Come on, Ben. Come on.
why worry about it? What about you, Matt? What do you think?
I reckon traffic lights, purely for the fact that I have really bad luck when it comes to traffic lights. So
Yeah.
It is
But-
frustrating.
You and Brad
it's
should
close.
talk about that.
Yeah. In saying that though, it is close. Like,
Yeah.
but I'd go with traffic lights. Yeah.
Nice. Fair enough. There is something nice about getting a real smooth run. You know, when you're just like driving home from work one day and you're like, I've got all greens the whole way. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's a
It's
nice
nice.
You're
experience.
powerful, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Like
that's impossible for you at the moment, Ben, isn't it?
Yes.
There's no way you'll get all green lights.
No.
Probably the same for Brad as well.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Rough.
Unlucky boys.
Yeah. Great. Third question, Matty. Hit us.
Third and last question is, would you rather be the first person to explore a planet or be the inventor of a drug that cures a deadly disease?
Oh.
Whew.
I would explore a planet.
Why?
Just sounds so much cooler. If I'm being totally honest, like, how cool would it be to be the first person to go and explore a planet?
Yeah.
And that's purely all it is.
I'm gonna say the opposite of you, Will, because if you're the first person to explore a planet, chances are you're only doing it with one or two other people, and it's gonna be hella lonely and a long way. Like basically your whole life is going towards that. Whereas, and like you'll get forgotten about. Like people are like, oh yeah, there's those guys on their way to Mars. Like they're still years away. Whereas if you come up with a cure of disease, you get to still be with like your family and your friends and all of that,
That's cool.
and be a hero at the same time. So
There you go.
Hey, kudos for Will for going first as well. Well, that
Awesome.
was impressive,
Yeah.
mate. I'm also going to go I'm going to invent the drug route as well, because number one, exploring a planet sounds hella scary, and I don't want to have to put myself through that. Number two, from the drug I invent, I'm going to sell it, make a fortune, and then create my own space program.
Fantastic.
I love it. I'm actually probably going to be on the bandwagon with you, Will. Being an explorer sounds cool. There's something about being an explorer that's in my DNA that I wish I could do more of, like go and explore new things. And I'm a bit of a space nerd, so I kind of do know how much space would kill you, and it would be scary as. But something about being out in space and exploring a new planet for the first time would be super cool.
Yeah. Well, there you go. We got a Brad and Will versus Ben and James standoff again. Classic.
Very original. What about you, Matt? Break
I'm
the
gonna
time,
have to go with Ben and James for this one. Yeah, I think 100%. I mean, exploring a planet for the first time would be pretty cool, but I'd have to go with the drug that cures a deadly disease for this one. I think it's just overall more beneficial for the world, and
It's true.
yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Good argument. I like it. Hey, Matt, before you go, we want to just let you, like, you've obviously got your own little podcast. So we want to give you a little opportunity to shout it out. But then we've also got like a question for you as well.
Yeah.
So you just tell the listeners at home, what's your podcast?
Okay. Well, I have a podcast, and I run it with a couple of mates and the podcast is called Isolation Nation. So we obviously we started the podcast when we were in deep isolation, so hence the name. So we talk all things coronavirus, bring up some fun weekly segments and whatnot, and it's just like a whole lot of fun. So we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and we also have a Facebook page. So definitely get around the podcast, guys. It'll be much appreciated, and quality content.
Sure, at a reasonable time length.
Sure.
We struggle with that too.
Yeah. We had one question for you though. Are you going to change the name of your podcast now that we're not in isolation anymore?
Yeah, I've had that question come up a bunch of times before, and I feel like the answer is probably leaning towards no, mainly because I feel like if people then ask, oh, why is the name Isolation Nation when we're not in isolation anymore? It'll provide like a good story for people. Like, this is why it's called isolation. We started the podcast in isolation. So
there's that. Plus the Nation podcast just doesn't have the same ring to it.
Sounds like a Pauline Hanson podcast.
Get a very
100%.
big different demographic.
100%.
Nah, cool, man. That's great. Love it.
Yeah.
Any other questions, boys? Nah, great.
That's awesome.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for being a joey on our podcast, mate. And thanks for asking the real questions.
Thank you for having me on, boys. It's been a great time.
No worries.
Awesome.
We love it, mate.
Love it.
And good luck with the Isolation Nation podcast, man.
Yes. And have fun with the rest of your day, boys.
We will.
Thanks, Matty.
Catch you later, mate.
See you, mate.
See ya. Wow, that's so smooth. Like
Yeah,
he
that was
left
good.
perfectly. Well done, Matt. Killed it. Brad, you have
Yeah.
a question for us.
I do have a question. I was walking around the house the other day, and my wife pointed out to me that I have this crazy skill that she thinks that no one else in the world has. And I want to ask you boys, do you have a mild superpower that you're better at than anyone else in the world? So mine is my sense of smell. I can walk into a room and smell if something's a bit off or a bit funny instantly. It's like my sense of smell is so attuned to things like if there's been water sitting out somewhere for too long, it gets a smell to it. I can smell it really quickly. If the towels have been, a bit not washed in however long, I can smell that as soon as I walk into a bathroom. Most reckon that's my mild superpower. James.
I have a quick question for you,
Yes.
Brad. We recently heard that one of our valued Joeys, who will not be named, can smell when pasta is cooked. Is that part of your superhero power? Because that seems absurd to me.
There is. I actually kind of know what she's talking about because the water changes and it does smell a bit different. I've never actually consciously picked that out as a cooking technique, but I can totally understand where she's coming from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's
But so, so for me, it's a sense of smell. What's your mild superpower?
That's such a good question, Brad. And I'm just going to have to throw to Will to start us off.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I reckon my mild superpower is that I'm better at listening.
Okay.
Yep. Like I'm a great listener. I will listen to people talk all the time without interrupting them because I'm just a great listener. But that also counts as a little, it's a bit of kryptonite as well, because I am so good at listening. I struggle to actually then get into the conversation because I'm too busy listening.
So your greatest power is also your greatest weakness.
That's correct.
Right.
Oh, am I allowed to? I'm going to go along that bent as well.
Okay.
I think I'm a little bit ambidextrous, and it's good and it's also bad, but it's not in everything. So I'm not
Ambidextrous.
I'm not ambidextrous in everything. But when it comes to tennis, I'm not great at tennis, but I don't have a backhand. I just have two forehands, and I'll just switch hands, and I'll hit the ball with whatever hand
Awesome.
with whatever hand the ball is on, whatever side the ball is on, which is awesome. And with cricket, I'll trick people up because I'll bowl right-handed and I'll bat left-handed. I'm not good at cricket either, but it's tricky. But it also has become my kryptonite as well, because some things like tennis I can do with both hands, but some things I can't do with either hand. So I am not very good at cutting with scissors. It's like I must have missed the day in school or something when people learn how to cut with scissors. But I literally just can't do it. Every time I try and cut even like paper will go like in between the scissors. And I've tried left-handed scissors. I've tried right-handed scissors. I can't do it. To the extent that we built a recording studio once and people knew I couldn't do it. So they asked me to cut the ribbon for it. And I just stood there for like a minute trying to get halfway through the ribbon. And we got a birth of our child coming up really soon. I'm really scared that I'm not going to be able to cut the umbilical cord.
Yeah, best leave that to the professionals.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll see.
What about you, Ben?
Crazy. I don't know. I feel like my mild superpower is being able to remember people's names and faces. So I'm quite good at being able to do that even after only like one small conversation with people. Able to remember them for a fair while and like spot them in crowds and stuff like that and be like, oh, I know that person, they're there, and this is when we talked.
That's a pretty good power.
I don't know if it's like above average, but I feel like I'm quite good at that.
Do you have like a big kryptonite weakness at all?
He's
like
too good at remembering people's names.
Yeah, just people find it creepy that I'm so good at remembering their names. A kryptonite. I feel like I'm exceptionally distracted. So like if I get bored real easy. So I feel like I'm easily distracted in conversations that I no longer find interesting or in anything that I find interesting. I think that happens quicker than normal. I think that's my kryptonite.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
My kryptonite's not related to anything like that. My kryptonite is just zippers. I can't. If I got a jumper on, I struggle to get the things together. They always get stuck halfway up. I have no idea why. I just suck at zippers. So zippers are my kryptonite.
Do you
Wow.
break them all the time?
You got quite a few broken zippers, but if they're not broken, they just get stuck. Like the bottom part of the fabric gets caught in the zip, or like I can't get the bottoms in together, or like sometimes the zip is reversed for some reason on different jumpers and stuff, and that just totally throws me out. I can't zip.
It's weird.
Fair.
Yeah,
There you go.
I just must have missed that at school, like James. Just
Yeah.
jumper day.
Mate, it's brutal. Don't miss a day of grade 1. It will mess you up for life.
It will. Yeah. Oh, it's good to know.
Yeah.
We seem to be down a couple of gavels today, boys.
I've never bought one.
Ben, we're going to have to get on that train like Will's microphone.
Yeah.
That's shocking.
I just don't care.
No commitment to the podcast.
Zero commitment to the podcast, mate.
I just don't want to buy one.
Ben runs meetings about our podcast and yet won't buy a hammer.
Yeah, because it's like $15 that it's just not worth spending.
Oh, mate, it's like $4. Go to Bunnings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm
I
fine.
just had this around the house.
Yeah. But now you guys have made a deal about it. I'm making a stand about it. So
Mate,
I
that's
can
a poor
appreciate
life
that
deci-
position.
That's a poor life decision.
It
Ben.
is.
I thought you were
No.
more about better improving yourself and
I
all
am.
this sort of stuff.
Just
but
a gavel's not
obviously-
going to do it.
Just stop. This is the opposite of the no coffee train.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. Well, James,
Yeah, look,
We
talking
need to
about
talk.
bettering yourself.
yeah,
Yeah. And kryptonite.
there's something that we need to address on the podcast.
Yeah, there is. Boys, a couple of months ago, I decided to ironically download an app because I saw a bunch of the youth in our church were doing it. And I was like, you know what? I'm cool. I'm still hip. I'll download the app. And I did. And I got a little bit famous on the app briefly. And then my fame dropped as soon as Will entered some of my things on the app, which was unfortunate. And so I kind of lost interest a little bit. But the last week, it has been used to the extent of about an hour a day, according to my analytics. And I
Wow.
need an intervention. The app is TikTok, and I just
Oh,
can't
no.
stop scrolling through these videos. And boys, I need you to help me break this.
An hour a
I'm
day.
really like I think the first day was like an hour and a half. Like the first day I got re-addicted to it was like an hour and a half, and then every day since then, anywhere between like an hour and 45 minutes I'm spending on this app, just at night or in the morning, just scrolling.
Wow.
That's a lot of TikToks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is a lot of TikToks.
It's a lot of ticking and talking.
Have you found any good ones in the
Hey,
time?
no, Will, no,
Get off.
no. That's not how an intervention works. You don't talk about the positives of the thing. You got to try and remind him of all of the negatives and the way that it's impacting his friendships and his relationships.
It's making you a worse friend, James. We feel
it?
like you'll feel
Yeah.
like you're so distracted about this TikTok addiction you've got that you're not even turning up to Kangaroo court meetings on time. Like
Yeah.
we had a lunch meeting yesterday and you were like 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I
he
think
said he
that's
was in a
generous.
meeting.
I
Yeah.
wasn't in a meeting.
He was meeting TikTokers online. Is that what they're called?
I
Oh,
was
mate.
recording harmonies, but you didn't know that was on TikTok. I've even got Sophie learning one of the dances on TikTok because I told her I don't think
No.
she could do it anymore.
Oh my gosh, James.
It's a problem, boy.
You've
This is a
fallen
real
apart.
problem.
I've fallen, but I reckon, when Facebook first brought out like the video thing on like the video part of it, and you'd watch one video and then it would go to a next one, and by the like half an hour later, you've realized you're at the end of the video. Did that happen to anyone else?
I think I've done that maybe once. And then I turn the little notification thing off so they don't come up anymore.
Yeah, I probably need to do that then, because it's like that, but every day now.
Mm.
And I don't know. I'm wondering how I can stop it.
When do
I
you
reckon-
find yourself doing it most?
Before I get up for the day and before I go to sleep. So the start and the end of my day.
I reckon one thing you could do to like stop it is you could like delete the app.
Oh, I don't want to though.
Well, that's where the real issue lies then. It's not that you want to reduce it. It's just you don't even want to get rid of it in the first place.
I feel guilty about doing it, but also I like it.
That's tough.
Is it something I should feel guilty about?
Well, why do you feel guilty about it?
Because it doesn't feel cool.
It's
Yeah.
not cool.
But simultaneously, it feels way more cool than sitting on a podcast than just talking to people.
Oh, come on.
Oi.
I'm sorry, boys,
Well-
but it's the truth.
Well,
I feel
I
like
like-
I'd be more hip and cool with the young guys if I was just making TikTok videos.
I'd put him in the waiting room for that sort of thing.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm tempted.
Yeah, I'm very tempted too.
Skating on thin ice, mate.
Yeah.
Oh,
One
do it.
more
Put me in the
comment like
waiting room.
that.
I don't care.
Well,
He'll just go in the waiting room and sit on TikTok.
that's what I did. I put him in the waiting room.
Ticking and talking right now.
Nah, he said, I don't care, put me in the waiting room. So that's where he is. For all of you at home, listeners, he's in the waiting room. You won't be hearing from James for a little while, just because I can't believe he said that about the podcast.
What do we do, guys? How do we get him off this? Can we steal his phone or something?
I think we need to delete the app, but I also think we need to use the power of his wife. I think we need to talk to Sophie.
Okay. Good call.
That could be.
We won't be able to guilt him and shame him the way that she can.
We've got life group tonight, so I'll have a quick side along with Soph and tell her.
Great. Cool. All right. I'll let him back in.
Great.
He's back, but on mute.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Yeah, he's probably just playing TikToks anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have to turn the TikTok volume down because some of it is not podcast ready.
Yeah. It's probably not edifying for your soul, James, either. It's probably not helping you be a better man, is it? You know, you got to
It's
think
helping
about
me be a better dancer.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon here's the kicker. Is it going to make you a better dad?
Oh!
Well, see, there's a Dads of TikTok page. And it's
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I
No.
bet they're all drop kick dads, dead. You don't want to join that ranking, James.
Okay, how about this? I want you boys to download the app for a week. And as part of our Roocap episode next week, you can tell me if it's something I should get rid of or if it's something I should keep. How do we feel about that?
What if I download the app on my phone and then don't use it for the whole entire week just as a statement?
You could do that. It probably won't be as influential for me because you're not speaking out of experience, but you could do that if you wanted to.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting experiment, though. Like if I could have the willpower to kind of use it and then recommend not to do it next week.
Yeah. We could have a do not recommend at the end of our recap. And it's like, we do not recommend getting TikTok.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, I've had the TikTok app before when
Just
when you
so you know,
first-
Will, when you say I've had the TikTok app before, it doesn't
I
sound
downloaded
cool.
it on the line.
Yeah, exactly.
Me saying last season on the Facebook.
Yeah.
not really, but that's fine. Clearly, you missed some English classes too.
Brutal.
Will.
Feisty Will today.
Yeah, that's right.
Sassy.
Sassy Will.
I did enjoy it for a little bit, but yeah, I did eventually find that my enjoyment of it disappeared. So I managed to delete the app. So I reckon if you kind of just wait the phase out, it'll go away.
So, Will, you're a success story
I'm a success story.
of what rehab can look like.
But we don't
That's
know
correct.
if it's success to delete it yet because you
Yeah.
boys haven't tried it.
All right. Well, I'll download it and have a crack at it this week.
Great.
Does that mean we have to make an account?
Yep.
Oh, come on.
I don't want that on my digital history.
You can,
Well,
you can
why
watch
don't you call
TikToks
your-
without having an account.
What if I change my name to be my kangaroo court name? Joey Rugen. And we can all have our kangaroo court names as our TikTok accounts.
Mm. So I'd be, Benny Ruru.
I think Rupert Murdoch would be fun on TikTok, to be honest.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
And Will, what would you be?
Rookie Balboa.
Love it.
Love it.
Hmm.
Okay.
All right.
I'm down for the challenge.
Get back to me next week, boys. Thanks for
Yeah.
that.
See how we go.
We'll burn you next week.
Awesome.
Right. Is that Rukamen time?
It's recommend time.
Who's going to kick us off?
I will. I've got a recommend that has gotten me through every single meeting I've ever been a part of in my life. And for those who can't see this on YouTube, it is a fidget toy, and you can hear it.
Cool.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This thing means my hand can go crazy while I sit still and focus.
So
and it means
are you a
I'm
fidgeter?
less distracted. Oh, I'm a huge fidgeter. Means I'm way less distracting to other people unless they look at my hand and it's just gone like crazy. Would recommend fidget cube, like $5 or something on Amazon. Go
Nice.
out.
What about a fidget spinner? Or do you reckon they're no good?
Now they're too. I have a couple of fidget spinners, but they're a bit too loud,
Mm. Yeah.
and they only do one thing. I got addicted to them for a while as well. But this, it's got a spinning wheel. It's got a clicky clacky switch. It's got a joystick. It's got a metal ball that you can spin.
Wow.
It's incredible. Can recommend. 10 out of 10.
Nice. Well,
Amazon?
Yeah.
Great.
Sponsor.
Cool.
we love a good Amazon product.
Yeah, we do.
Me too.
My recommend is this fun little feature that you can do, and this is a big shout out to a couple of our Joeys who on Friday night informed me that this is possible. But you can change the color of all your Google Drive folders.
Can
So
you?
instead of them all being gray, you can make them all different colors, and so you can organize your folders like certain colors mean certain things, and it is beautiful to look at once you've color coordinated all of your folders. So it also helps in terms of like, oh, I know my, like for me, my work stuff is blue. And so I just look for the blue folder and I can find it. Or
That's the correct choice of a work color, Ben.
Oh yeah. Work color is always blue.
Yeah.
It's definitely not green. That's for sure. Blue is definitely work. But yeah, so you can do all these different like colors on your folders and it looks amazing when it's done. So there's something really aesthetically pleasing about it. It's quite
Are you doing
nice.
that online? Or?
Yeah, on the Google Drive. Yeah. On the line. On the Google Drive, on the line.
On the Google Drive URL, HTTPS.
Yeah, you got to make sure it's HTTPS or whatever so that it's secure. If it's not got an S at the end, it's not secure. Don't use those websites. Hot tip.
It's a good recommend.
Yeah, so double recommend. For cybersecurity, make sure your HTTP has the S at the end and you'll be fine.
Love it. Well, my recommend this week is this little thing here. It's just got an adhesive strip on the back. It's just a cable management tool where all your cables can sit in it like this, like so. Let me just slide one in.
So for those listening in the car, Brad has just put a USB cord in and it looks beautiful.
You know what this says to me, Brad?
In a little holder. What does it say?
This tells me that you're a victim of an Instagram ad.
I've never actually seen this on Instagram.
Really?
No,
is it Amazon?
It is from Amazon. And because I kind of shop around with a bunch of tech stuff and I Googled cable management one day because my cables are everywhere. And this thing came up and it's great. So I've got a few of these. Oh, Google's talking to me. Shush. She's telling me about cable management. But this, it just fits all in nicely, makes my place look much nicer and easier to do. Yeah, have no problems with it. It's great.
Do you have one at work?
I don't have one at work, but I'm going to take that one to work to do it. Sorry,
Okay.
Google's just talking. Hang on.
Damn Google.
Always listening.
What about you, Will? What's your recommend?
My recommend might be a little bit of a controversial one, I think, maybe. But something I really enjoy, like as a passion of mine, is sport. And I've recently found another podcast called the Howie Games podcast. I don't know if anyone's watched the Big Bash coverage, but Mark Howard, one of the commentators, has a podcast called Howie Games. And he just interviews athletes. And I thoroughly enjoy listening to that when I'm not listening to Kangaroo Court, because obviously Kangaroo Court's better.
Do you listen to your own podcast, Will?
Absolutely. I've got to find where I've got to improve. So it's a bit of self-improvement. I feel like if we listen to episode 1 and episode 19, people will notice that I've gotten better. So,
Yeah, you have.
So, yeah. So, but
Not that much better because you're still recommending other podcasts, mate. I wanted to mute you.
It's the first time I've recommended another podcast.
I see you're saying it's a learning experience.
This will be a future learning experience to not do it again, but I wanted to test the waters. We've had a couple of other podcasts plug themselves recently, but I thought I'd just give this one a little shout out because I am a big sports fan and I think it's well worth listening to.
Nice.
I've heard
Fair
good things about the Howie games.
Yeah. Maybe he'll give us a shout out now that we've given him one.
Maybe indeed.
Fingers crossed.
If he does that, I'll get addicted to TikTok.
Go follow the Howie Games on TikTok.
Yeah.
Love it. It's
Yeah.
great recommends, everybody.
Nice. Well, next week's our Roocap, right?
It is.
So if you're out there listening on Podcast World and you have some questions or things you've noticed about this season, please flick us a video or an audio message on Anchor or through any of the social pipes we've got. We'd love to hear your questions or things you want to recap.
And hear all the ways that we've been wrong.
Yeah,
And important to note, it is also our last video podcast.
very true.
Correct.
We'll not be doing video podcasts anymore after next week's Roocap episode.
Nope. Because we're not isolated anymore. So
It doesn't make much
Correct.
sense.
we can hang out.
Yeah.
Whoa! Looking forward to it.
Can be great. Well, Will, you know what to do, mate.
Court adjourned.